purposes of this video is to demonstrate some of the differences, if any, between a straight and different types of curved blades. At demonstration are going to be standard number 11 Xacto blades. These are the regular standard that you buy in bulk or come with your knife. Xacto number 10 curved blades. These have a small curved edge as well as a straight edge. Tamiya curved blades. These just recently became available at Gunpla. They are all curved and are roughly the same size as a number 11 blade. I'm also testing a generic brand, I forget which one, but I'll put it in the comments of the video, of Xacto number 12 mini curved blades. It's a bit tough to get out of there. It's not a very well constructed box, but you get what you pay for. These are extremely tiny blades. We're going to be testing these on, there we go, tilt this up, a part cut from the YMS 15 GAN HG Universal Century kit. This kit has not yet been touched or opened. It's been kept in climate controlled storage. We're looking at an ambient temperature in the low 70s. First and second cuts are going to be used with Xuron 2175 ET sprue cutters. Here's the piece we'll be using, the face of the shield. You'll note that some of these parts were cut with a little bit more or less stress than the others. These are only at the first cut stage. So down they go, so that way you can see how much we're working with, how much I'm leaving behind. I'm trying to gun for 1 to 2 millimeters left of the nub, so we can have a nice cleaner job shaving it down with the rest of the blade. By the way, the 2175 ETs are a dream to work with. I'm used to really cheap bad ones, so this is very nice. Alright, so there's a little bit of unclean cut on most of them, enough that it definitely merits shaving down. So we will start with the number 11 blade. These are brand new, never used, kept sealed. These are always impossible to get out. Xacto branded, mind you, they're not third party, although I've used Fiskars branded number 11 blades before. And it goes. So the method I'm going to be using with a straight blade is just a gentle push across. I'm not going to try to shove through. So it's not going to be push, push. It's going to be as much as I can pull, pull. Let's stabilize a little. I'm not exactly a YouTube star. What I'm also going to try to do is cut away upwards from the part first before I start going parallel. Wherever possible, I want to keep the nub size down. So the first cut of the straight blade is really clean. Nice and clean, easy start. We start to get a little bit closer, and we start seeing very minor bits of leave behind. At this point, we're shaving. We are entirely shaving with the straight blade. Straight pushing through. It's actually tough to navigate my way back to it at this point. I'm going to call this one done. So let me see how well this camera can focus on it. So we see here, briefly, there's the remnants of the nub. It is present on camera more so than you see it in person. I'm going to give it one more clean up because it's not flush to the touch just yet. The shaving is the one exception. I'm just gently pushing against it. Minimal pressure like I'm shaving my beard. A quick scratch to finish it out. Darn near impossible to see on camera. In person, you really can't see too much of this. Let's move on to the Xacto number 10. We now bring the number 10 into play. Focus a little there. As you can see, it's the single edge blade, curve and straight lined, again fresh from the package. For sake of record keeping, I've marked the number 11 nub cut so we can at least keep track later. I'll now go down to the next one. This one I'm going to do a little bit differently. I'm going to try to just gently apply pressure. Instead of in a straight line, I'm going to apply it with the curve. It's not going to be pushing through if I can avoid it otherwise. So with the curve we go. You got to be really careful when you're controlling this one because it really wants to get out of control. The trick that I've told people so far is that it's really all about the follow through. It's like you're swinging a golf club or a baseball bat. And I hate to use a sports analogy for a hobby like Gunpla, but you only need to use as much force as is necessary to get through the nub. As you can see, it's left behind a little bit of stress. We're going to go on with the shaving part. And here we see it cleans up with the straight edge very cleanly. It's left a little bit behind, and it's not quite flush to the touch. nowhere near comparable to the number 11 blade just yet. So across we go, using the curve part to do most of the work for us. Whatever hypothesis we have towards the curved blade, if it's the actual shape of the blade or the fact that it's not putting uniform pressure across the rest of the nub, that could very well be coming into play. I'm going at it from all angles with the curved blade in hopes of getting... Ooh, that's going to be close to a gouge. Yeah. And the fingernail scratch to clean it up, it's still not fully flush from the other direction. A round part serves as a pretty decent test bed, because if nothing else, it's going to be that much harder to gouge into it. I'm calling this one done. As you can see here, it's present. You can see the remainder, but a quick scratch to clean it up does okay. Touch-wise, surprisingly, it's nowhere near comparable to how clean the number 11 cut was. Next, we're going to do the mini curved blade, the generic branded number 12. Alright, we now move on to the Mini number 12, a generic brand. This is very much smaller. I've done a couple of tests at home on this one, nothing in the environment such as a proper build, just kind of shaving down sprues from an old kit. So this one I'm going to try the same technique. I don't have as much leeway with the number 10 because of the size of the blade. However, because it's so small, you have a little bit more of a slicing action that you have to control the blade with. So you have to worry about the back and forth, but it gives you more of an opportunity to shave just the fractional parts of the top of the nub before you start angling down towards the part. Because keep in mind, any of these blades has some kind of pitch down to them when the actual cutting edge of the blade engages. It's actually a very clean feeling cut. It doesn't actually look the best though. So, as you can see, I'm kind of taking this very slow when it comes down to the shave part. Like so. Both sides gently. Wow, that's actually... This is the best one of the bunch so far. You can kind of see... Here is the number 12 cut. You see it right there. That's where the nub used to be. It left a little bit behind. There's a slight discoloration on the surface that you can see as it moves between the spectrum of the light. Here is the number 10, the standard blade size. Again, there's a little bit of the nub visible when you see it reflected, but it's almost impossible to see on the surface. Almost impossible, I say. It does have a little bit of more cleanup that needs to be done. And here is the number 12. Minor, modest discoloration, but a couple more scratches with the fingernail. And while present, it actually leaves a little bit more of a stress mark behind than the number 10 blade. Definitely a lot more than the number 11 blade. So we're looking at an entirely possible dispelling of the curved blade mythos. So that was the number 12. We are now moving on to the Tamiya curved blade. On we go to the Tamiya curved blade. I don't know what gauge this goes to. It's actually blended alpha, so I'm guessing they are the ones that actually do the work for Tamiya. It's all curved, no straight. It's a larger version of the number 12. Again, we're doing the, like butter, it goes through. It's like this is one that really needs careful follow through, because even just pushing slightly against it, you really, really get a lot out. It does its work. It wants to do it. I've been moving up a little bit in the gauge of the blade, so the wider part just gets the worst of it, as it comes down to it. I don't know what that means. Alright, that didn't take much long at all. It is perfectly flush, literally perfectly flush. You have to look to see the discoloration. As I continually adjust the autofocus. The Tamiya curved blade has basically surgically removed the nub with no evidence that it ever existed. This is the best result I've had so far. However, keep in mind these are all perfectly fresh blades. So that's really something else there that just happened. So let's review. Based on the test just completed, it's safe to say that if you have the unlimited budget, you can definitely do very well with the Tamiya curved blade. That was the one that took away this nub right here. That one there. All you can really tell of that is just a vague shadow that it existed. It has that change in light when it gets reflected. But, you know, once you put the top coat down on that, it's really going to take care of any reflectivity. There won't be anything left to reflect. The number 11 straight blade, surprisingly, was the second best performer overall. If we look here at the number 11 nub, that's what was left behind. You really have to tilt it into the light to see it, and again, reflectivity is going to take it off. It is extremely flush to the surface of the part. The number 10 blade has left behind a very small amount of physical nub remaining. There is the slight physical protrusion, and you can feel it. The number 12, the mini number 12, is our third place performer for sure. You can't really feel it, but you can slightly see the stress mark. It's there. You have to look for it, but it's there. Also, depending upon the part, it may not even be exposed. So let's recap. First place overall performer, Tamiya curved blade. Given that these are $9 for, I believe, 5 or 6 blades, you're going to need deep pockets or a really good commercial source of these. I don't know if it's the quality of the blade or if it's just the type of it. I think this conforms to the number 22 Xacto type. I'm not 100% on that. This was not easy to find. Only Gundam Planet had it when I was last checking. They're my source for it. Best overall in terms of budget and availability, a fresh Xacto number 11 blade. This surprised the heck out of me. You know, in terms of value, in terms of effectiveness, it's really the one to beat. Third place overall, the mini curved blade. I had to knock it below the number 11 simply because it's harder to work with. It's very tiny. You know, compared to this, the blade surface itself is around half the size. You have to be careful on how you actually load it into your knife. You don't have a smoother engagement on the angle. Look at how the Tamiya carved blade has that smooth curve. The number 12, it gets a sharper engagement onto the curve. The number 10, I would not use again. It has not really proven itself to be an effective curved blade. So if you've got the down payment to invest in the Tamiya ecosystem, go for it. It is a wonderful, hell of a blade. If you don't, you do fine with the number 11. You can do okay with the number 12. Stay away from the number 10. This has been my review of curved blades versus straight.